All right. So Doge, right, is supposedly maybe handing out refund checks. um so it says, what is my Doge dividend? What to know about stimulus check website. So they actually have a website. So it says a website has been created to address benefits and common questions regarding a proposed stimulus check to be sent to American families from the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE Savings. Why it matters. DOGE is a new department created under President Donald Trump that is looking to reduce federal costs, led by billionaire Elon Musk. The department has recommended mass layoffs in the federal government as a means to eliminate $2 trillion yearly in funding to major U.S. agencies. Um, uh, A Zaria investment CEO, James Fishback, has proposed that Americans should receive a stimulus check from some of the savings. And he recently created Google Doc accessible from the website mydogedividend.com that addresses the benefits and common questions related to the argument. So, what to know? Americans haven't received a stimulus check in mass since 2021, and some are hoping that DOGE cuts could open the door to new payments. So, what is My Doge Dividend? My Doge Dividend is a website created by Fishback that outlines a possible way to return a portion of Doge savings to American taxpayers. According to Doge, the department is allegedly achieving $1 billion in savings per day. In the Google Doc, Fishback proposes DOGE should send a tax refund check to American families. The check will be funded exclusively with a portion of the savings delivered by DOGE. Fishback proposes that 20% of DOGE total savings, estimated to be $400 billion by the time of its expiration, should be sent to 79 million households that pay federal income tax. This will equate to roughly 5,000 per household. I'm all for it. So it says, according to Doge Live Tracker, Doge has saved $51 billion since it was created. Will Americans receive refund checks? As of February, no Americans are receiving refund checks from Doge. Neither Trump nor Musk have confirmed that such stimulus checks will happen, but both have said they are considering the idea. So, so let me go with Larry, and I think Rusty was next, and Dr. Mark. So go ahead, Larry.
So what Trump and Elon are proposing is that 20% of the money is going to go back to the taxpayers. We don't even know if it's going to be a $5,000 check. It's 20%. 20% of the income is going to go towards the national debt. Then 60% of whatever they save is going to go back to the budget for next year. Now, I do not agree with two of them, and the two I do not agree with, and I support Trump, voted for him. You can be mad at me. I'm sorry, but my opinion on the matter is that I believe that every single bit of it should go back to the deficit, to the national debt, and we should not pass a single budget that is not one penny over the amount of taxes they collect. I cannot balance my household budget with a deficit every single month or every single year. It's impossible, 100% impossible. No one can do that. And our House of Representatives has allowed our budget to not be budgeted. And that's my opinion on it. We're almost 36, $37 trillion in debt. It's hard to even keep track of anymore. Every country that has had deficits like ours, pretty soon their income becomes like the peso, where you need a wheelbarrow of cash to go down to the grocery store and buy a loaf of bread. And it's easier to burn the money and warm your house than it is to actually get gas or oil to your home. So I don't believe we should spend any of it on people. I think we're supposed to be saving this money, and we're supposed to be spending it on the deficit. Now the thing is what Elon is doing is he's doing a lot more than saving us. If Elon saves us $1 billion on something like subscription, that's a lot more than $1 billion, because the subscriptions usually renew themselves. So say over 4 years, that's maybe $4 billion. But the thing is I love what Elon's doing. I absolutely love it. I wish that our budget was spent and everyone knew what every dollar was going to. I understand having a black budget, but that black budget should be limited, and it should be eventually that information should be released as like, say, we shouldn't know how much money or what all the technology is in a B-2 bomber, but we should know how much of that black budget went into the B-2 at some point. But I can understand the black part of the budget, but what I do not understand is why do I not know how much toilet paper that the IRS got? I used to work or I was part of the PTA in Colorado. And my favorite part was I was supposed to be the treasurer, and they gave me a piece of paper, said, this is how much money we spend on administration expenses. This is how much we pay our teachers. This is how much the PTA, or whatever they called it, had to spend. Okay, so what's in the administration expenses? Well, it's just stuff for the administration. What's in it? I'm not allowed to know. I'm the treasurer, and I'm supposed to approve the I'm told, flat out told, you have to approve this budget. You have to. Like, I didn't have a choice in the matter. And if I asked questions about what was in administration expenses, I was in trouble. Now, mind you, this was in small town Montrose, Colorado, where, they had multi-million-dollar budget for administration expenses, but I wasn't allowed to ask any questions. Teachers were making little to no money. I could see how much every single teacher made. It was garbage, but the administration expenses was in the millions. So I think that we need to stop all of it, start paying our debt, start balancing our budget, and regardless, yeah, $5,000. We live from check to check. My wife works at Dillon's. I'm disabled. We pay into taxes. Yes, you receive Social Security, you don't pay it. My wife does pay it. My daughter works. She also pays it. But the thing is I don't believe that the $5,000 is going to make a big enough difference for my family, because the way it works is it's not me that has to pay that off. It's not my wife. It's not my daughter. It's my great grandkids. We just paid off World War II like 5-6 years ago. Look at that. That's amazing. We just paid off World War II. It took 100 years, like almost 100 years, to pay that off. We're trillions of dollars in debt. That's stupid. I'm sorry, $5,000 is not going to change my life enough to be all happy and excited. I'm going to get a $5,000 check. I want it to go to our debt. That's all I have to say.
Larry, I appreciate Dana. I'm back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I appreciate the Weimar Republic wheelbarrow full of cash to buy a loaf of bread reference, because that is where we are headed. I take a different tact when it comes to the 5,000. When most of the country doesn't have $1,000 to their name to take care of an emergency, I think the $5,000 does make a difference. And I think that even if the people don't put it to good use, it is going to spur or kickstart of a large part of the economy. When we saw the last disbursements given out for or during the pandemic, most of the money actually flowed into, unfortunately, alcohol, drugs, and OnlyFans, with the close follow-up being cryptocurrency. And I think that this could be a potential catalyst for a lot of people to get involved in crypto. And I believe what's going to happen is Musk has been applying for and receiving money transmitter licenses in each state of the country. And I think you're going to see, once he upgrades X and allows this to happen, you're going to be able to access crypto in a way that you've never seen before through this app. And it's going to spur a tremendous amount of growth in that industry. And I think it could actually be a saving grace for a lot of people in disadvantaged communities, because the ability to make money in this space is by magnitudes greater than anything else. He's also in talking about, in conjunction with that, having 0% capital gains tax on any crypto earnings, which is insane if you think about that. Why would you stay in the stock market and pay 20% to capital gains to the government when you could pay 0% in the cryptocurrency marketplace? That's my 2 cents on that.
All right, I want to go to Rusty.
Good afternoon. So I truly understand where Larry's coming from, but I guess I look at it as, I know, I don't make, bad money, but I know that there are so many family members that I'm having to help, and that's who I think about, or the people around me and the people that I love. Um, they're struggling. I mean, people's credit cards are maxed out. And I also think, you have all of these politicians that have lined their pockets by selling us out. These people are millionaires. I mean, and they make that within just a couple of years of being there, making like $200,000. That's not, the math doesn't math on that. And I say, yes, I'll forego my 5,000 once you dig through all of their pockets, liquidate all their crap, found out how they got that money, and you put that back in there. Once they do it, then I'll do it. Otherwise, I mean, you know, and then them given all that, they were given thousands. I mean, there were even reports that some of these illegals, in addition to getting free housing, that they were getting something like, some of them 10,000, 20,000 food stamps and stuff. I mean, that is a slap in the face. That's our hard earned money right there that they take out of our paychecks. And so I'm worried about my people, the people, our Americans that are struggling and can't hardly afford groceries. Everything's been 10 prices. We've been punished these past 4 years. So that's what I worry about. And then also, kind of like Peter said, it could also, help stimulate the economy as well. But people need a break. I mean, we, we are just drained at this point. So many people I know, and including me, my credit cards are like maxed out. And I'm just trying to help family and friends as I can. Hell, I had a neighbor today. Excuse me. Heck, I had a neighbor today, and she's like, she's a little bit younger than me, and they have a family, and she was like, she'll call me every once in a while. I need a this or a that, a tomato, an onion. I'm just trying to scrape together until payday, so I'll scrape together some stuff and try to help her out. People are really, really struggling. I see them even at the gas station. I mean, just, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get through, enough change to get whatever it is they got to get, a little carton of milk or whatever. I mean, it's just, people are really struggling. And so I say until they're willing to dig, somebody needs to dig in their pockets. But, these people that are getting millions off of our back, that just infuriates me. Anyway, I'll hush, but thank you. That's my 2 thoughts. And also, too, I want to say this real quick. For anybody, and I know you said you're going to get that in a minute, Dana, but for anybody to say what's $5,000 going to do, that is a slap in the face of any average American, that's not a millionaire. I mean, that is a slap in the face. Oh, but I'll hush. Thank you.
All right, I want to get to Dr. Mark.
Hey Dana, long time.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing good. Um, my thoughts on a Doge refund. I'm actually, while I do think people dismissing $5,000 is ludicrous. Um, I'm not in favor of dispensing. refunds to taxpayers, even though I understand that the notion of it might be justified. After all, this is taxpayer money, and the right thing to do is return it. But one, there could be some inflation because anytime you put more money into the hands of the American people, they're going to spend it, and that's how we get inflation. When there's a lot of money going around, prices can go up. But more importantly, I'm just all about, look, we have this incredible debt, and I think the strategy that Trump has, I mean, they're taking a page out of President Milley in Argentina. Like they're going to, I mean, maybe not as austere, but they're slashing government where a lot of waste and expenses go. They're finding these fraudulent or wasteful spendings through DOGE. Just keep it going. Keep knocking down the debt. Keep up with the tariffs. Get more companies to come here and ultimately unleash energy. And I think all these put together will help knock down the debt. And I think what we'll see when everything is all clear, the reality is like our taxpayer dollars are not needed to fund the federal government. And so I'm more for the long term goal, which I think if everything goes right, that we don't need federal taxes at all. And I think I'd be happier with that than getting a satisfying check for now. And I think if that messaging gets out there and people can see the vision, at least the way I see it, um, just keep the money, pay down the debt, keep, progressing to that long term great goal that he's flirted with and that he seems to be projecting via words by Lutnick and his actions towards the IRS. So that's where I stand on Doge. I like what they're doing. We don't need to dispense checks just yet.
I'm gonna go to Indy, then I'm gonna go to Nancy, and then I'm gonna put my 2 cents in it. Go ahead, Indy.
Hey Dana, what's going on?
All right.
Hope you're doing well. I'm kind of with Russ on this. What she said, like, the average American is suffering. And I wouldn't just say suffering, but $5,000 to a lot of people, um, could do some. It could help them right now. Out of a tight spot. And Larry, I don't know where you work at, but bro, I need a job with you. And if you don't want your 5,000, can I give you my cash app when they send it to you, and you send me yours since you don't need it because I do. And I was looking at something on Bloomberg. He said the Bloomberg said that when you average it out and really look at every American getting a check from the money that they claim that they got, it kind of equates to about $11 per person. So I don't think the checks are gonna actually be 5,000. I think that was just something they were floating out there to get everybody excited. But what I'm doing is I'm watching. I think we need to give it some more time just to see how much quote unquote fraud and waste they recoup, because I want to see what the final number is going to be, because it's very hard for me now. It's very hard for me to trust the situation, because the person that's doing this, yeah, they a trillionaire, but the way they got their money, you know, came from a lot of government contracts. So I'm looking at a lot of different sideways things or underhanded things exclusionary things that may be happening that we don't know about, like whatever type of business they're trying to do to the IRS. I just saw a report today about the slashes that they're making at Department of Education, which is gonna cut out a lot of the money that was going towards teacher retention. The education system, eh, I'm not gonna say it's a problem, but retaining, I used to be a teacher, so retaining good teachers, we don't need to slash that money because a lot of our teachers are underpaid right now, especially with what we're dealing with in schools. I've been a teacher before, so they're very underpaid. So to cut good teachers, I just don't see the logic in that, like cutting teacher retainment. Um, and I'm looking at, like Russ said, I'm looking at a lot of these politicians and how much money they making just from being in office.
What happened?
He cut out. You cut out, Indy.
Yeah, maybe somebody calls him. I'll bring you back. Okay, here you go.
It says he's reconnecting.
Okay. Are you there? Oh.
Heard what I was talking about. Um, but anyway, what I was saying, like I'm with Russ on these politicians, like their little insider trading that a lot of them have been doing. Um, all of that money that they're making, that the average, Joe, us, we don't get those stock tips and insider trading to be on a fair level. So we talking about people that are making decisions, that they already know that they on a certain level, and they already know that none of us are ever going to get to that level. So I'm not sure about trusting them, putting all my trust in people that make tweets talking about, oh, billionaires are tired of people getting health care and free health care, and like some of the stuff that they're saying is just, I see a lot of disingenuous, uh, untrustworthy characters and unqualified people being put into positions. And as a black man in America, the amount of times that I've been told that I was overqualified for a little penny ass position, I just, I'm just gonna sit back and see what goes on. Senator Tom Tillis, I'm from North Carolina. He's from my state. Um, and when I saw them overturn Biden's little bill that they or executive order that they did about putting a cap on uh overdraft fees, from the bank. Then I look at people like Senator Tom Tillis that's helped pushing it, but then I find out that he is invested in and owns a lot of payday loan businesses, the loan sharking businesses that, you know, kill poor people pockets. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, when do we stop the bleeding, like of parasites? You know what I'm saying? And uh I'll give the floor to somebody else, and I'll just come back whenever we get into the Jasmine Crockett conversation. Anybody got some submissions about that? I want to hear what people have to say about her
Hmm.
before I even get into
Yeah.
that. But I'll land my plane right there.
And I've read your thing you sent me, and I was going to bring it up under the Jasmine Crockett segment. Can you just send it to me in my mailbox again right now if you can? Because that was very interesting and problematic. So I want to go to Nancy.
Which one were you talking about, then?
The overdraft.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I got you.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi. Well, we keep talking about all these people we don't trust, but then we don't want to give this up, and we don't want to cut that. Um, we're going to have to decide what we think the proper role of government is. If we don't, if we want them to take care of us from cradle to grave, which was never intended, we're going to have this huge corrupt government. I mean, that's just the way it is. If we want to start having or keeping our own money, because remember, the federal government has zero money. Zero. Every single freaking dime that they have, they stole from us. Or they printed it out of thin air, the Federal Reserve, which also comes directly from us. And from inflation, it's basically stealing money from your bank account while you're sleeping because your dollar buys less when there's more money in circulation. So we're going to have to decide. The Department of Education wasn't around when I was a kid going to school. It wasn't around at all. It wasn't around until Jimmy Carter. And our test scores were actually very high. We were rated number one and number two in the world. And now we're close to the bottom. So this has not worked. And it's largely a big, union up there. Why not take it back down to the states? Let the states keep their money, and we get more involved in the state level because we got still problems at the state level, and we're going to have to get involved and become, very involved in it. But anything you hand over to the federal government gets bad. If the federal government, I just want to say this thing, was never intended to do all it's supposed to be doing. It's listed in the Constitution, which was the document supposed to restrain them. That's why it was written, to restrain the federal government, gives them rules, and it mentions enumerated powers. Only those things the federal government was supposed to do, nothing more, because the real power is supposed to be at the states and with us, because we formed the government to do a few things. Otherwise, we wouldn't have formed it at all, because we were the powerful ones, us. They're not our masters, we're the masters. And so I mean, we've just like turned everything over to them. When I was a kid, you didn't have to, you wanted to have a lemonade stand in your front yard, you had one. You wanted to have a rummage sale, then you had one. You didn't have to go get a permit. Now we act like we have to have the government tell us, everything. So I'm just going to say that I'm for this. I guess this 20%, and for this reason, I would say it all should go to the debt, but I think it would be a big encouragement to the people to keep supporting what DOGE is doing, because there's so much lying going on out there by the Democrats, lying about what's happening. I think this would get the people behind it, and this is our one chance. I mean, I'm 68 years old, and this has been our one chance to really dig deep in this stuff and get some of the stuff gone. I mean, we need to get entire agencies gone. Entire agencies need to be gone, folks. And so if we're going to get that done, now's the time to do it. So I would say yes to the 20% to keep people encouraged. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Nancy. So these are my 2 cents, right? I want the check. I want the $5,000 check. And I hear what Larry is saying. I heard what Rusty, I heard what everybody was saying, and everybody made valid points and educating me, on the things when we talk about the deficit, the budget, and everything. Um, the average American, we don't understand the deficit. We don't understand the Federal Reserve, or, how they balance the scales. The average American does not. But the average American understands how much eggs cost and gas, and, they have credit card bills, or, extra food, or just to save money. $5,000. I'm for it, and I'm wondering, is this a one-time $5,000, or is it annually? Because that can go a long way. I heard someone in an interview, economist, he was saying because they was asking, but wouldn't inflation go up? And it was like, actually, no. When you give American people the 5,000, they're going to spend it, right? If not all of it, they're going to spend some of it. And when you spend money in the economy, that helps inflation go down. If they save it, that's still going to help inflation go down. So inflation is not going to rise if we give each family member $5,000. And I do like what DOGE is doing, uncovering a lot of the overspending from prior administrations, not just the past one, but from, prior ones from decades ago. And you really get to see the corruption that's been going on. And a lot of people were really fed up with the billions, close to $1 trillion spent on the illegals. And we are paying for that deficit. We're paying that debt, which is unfair. So when Elon says, "Oh, we could probably the money that we saved so far, we could give each family member $5,000." That is great. I would like to get it every year. Um, and somebody posed a question on X, and they said, do you want the Doge dividend check, or would you prefer to have the IRS abolished? And so, okay, abolishing the IRS, does that mean we don't have to pay federal taxes anymore? Because if that's the case, I will probably say, okay, abolish the IRS because I already owe them money. But if we still got to pay federal taxes, because sometimes just because you get rid of the IRS doesn't mean you have to stop paying taxes. They're just creating another department for you to pay federal taxes. So what are you going to replace it with? Or we just don't pay any more federal taxes. So I thought that was an interesting question. But for me personally, I want the 5,000. I will probably save half and pay off bills with the other half, and that will go a long way. Honestly, if people, a lot of times, families, an extra $200 a month at one point could help a family from going hungry or homeless. So 5,000 may not be a lot to some, but it is a lot to others. It could be life saving right about now. Um, any more comments on Doge? Because I want.
Hey
Uh
Dana,
huh.
can I ask Nancy something about her submission? Just one question, real quick. She she had mentioned, you know, sounding like she was encouraged about giving power back to the states. Um, I just want to, you know, remind her of kind of like history, and the last time states had power, uh do you remember what was going on when the states had power?
Are you talking about slavery, Indy, or what?
That and everything that came from it before the federal government was allowed to intervene and stop certain states from terrorizing black people.
It doesn't mean that the federal government, we still have some laws at the federal government where states can't do things like that. But we were supposed to have 50 republics, 50 test beds of liberty. That's what they said we had to have in the states. And
But do you understand why a black person would be afraid of hearing
sure, but there are
somebody
laws
actually
against that,
talk like
Indy.
that?
There are federal laws against that.
Laws.
Yeah.
I mean, there were laws when they were spraying people with water hoses. Like there were laws when they were redlining us. There were laws when we had to go in the back door or drink from a different water fountain. That was a law too.
I know, Indy. That
So
okay. Well, I have a lot of
I
American
mean, I'm
Indian
just
in me. Okay, so all
so
that was a
you understand
long
where I'm
time
coming from.
ago. That was a long time ago. You got to let it go. There are federal laws
No,
against
no,
it.
I'm not disagreeing that it happened a long time ago. I'm just saying that there was never any repair from that system, uh, and a lot of other groups have received repair.
Okay, so you're
And
wanting
What is
and
what
money. It's not
what
that
does
you
this have
don't
to do with the
trust the
states'
states.
rights?
You want
Yeah,
money.
this is not a reparations argument.
it has to do with why my group is on the bottom under every group in America, and we work the most in America for free.
I
But
don't
that
know.
wasn't your argument. Your whole argument was that you were worried about the
No,
states getting. Go ahead, you talk. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
yeah,
interrupt
yeah,
you.
I am. I am when I see Steve Bannon last night at the CPAC event doing the same Nazi salute that Elon Musk did at the inauguration. Yes, I
That
am.
was not
You
a
mean
Nazi salute.
the Roman salute? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, y'all could try to call it whatever y'all want.
I mean, listen, you could live in whatever reality you want to live in, my friend.
Oh,
The fact that
I've lived in America and looked at the history of America that my ancestors lived in, that they were terrorized in.
right,
What do you
Were
mean?
you
and this is
What
terrorized?
do you mean?
2025, and this
You
is
weren't terrorized.
2025, my friend.
Yeah,
That would never
and I
happen
just
again. You know
watched
why? Because of
and
social media,
I
and
just
because
watched
people are. Go
I
ahead,
just
you
watched the
talk.
cops escort a Nazi group off the bridge in Cincinnati, and the cops meet them somewhere else and tell them to take their shirt off so they can escort them back to the scene to pick up their little Nazi dog. What are you
What is
talking about?
what is your point?
The same cops that I'm supposed to trust to protect me and serve me.
I don't
But
trust cops to protect me. I
reparations would
protect
make you trust
myself, my
them.
friend. You should be
Rep-
protecting yourself as
Is
well.
that not a real thing for
so
is that not a
reparations would
real
make you
thing?
trust them. Is that what you're saying? If you give you money, then you'll start
Bro,
trusting.
how many straps do you have? How many
Ma'am, I did
firearms
not
do you
say that's
have?
not what I'm saying. Please don't do that.
How many
I'm trying to
straps do
be
you have,
genuine
Indy?
here.
How many guns do you have?
I'm not even gonna tell you that on here.
Are you proficient in firearms?
Because see, you with your right to bear arms means a different thing to the police and the government, and there were laws against
In,
black people even having
Indy,
guns.
how about this? I want three.
Even even in the first was the World War I, they said they wanted Negroes to help them fight, but they couldn't have a gun.
All right, so
Indy, how about
Do
this?
you remember
I, I,
that?
I want
Do
3D
you
printed
remember
all right.
that?
firearms. I want
Extremely
you to print
far off
firearms from
topic.
your house. How about that? I want you to have 1,000 guns. I want you to be
So
proficient off the hip. I want
I,
everyone armed to the teeth.
I know you do, but do you
Hey,
think that
Indy, I
if
think Indy asked.
a bunch of black people would have showed up to the Capitol and because we wanted to
That actually happened. The Black
w-
Panthers showed up at a Capitol State House in Georgia
yeah,
in
but
protest of, hold
they
on,
didn't
in
beat up
protest.
they didn't
They
beat up
showed
any
up with their
police.
guns and
They did
nothing
not.
happened. You got to
Yeah,
stop with this sensitivity,
but they did
bro.
not do what we saw them do
So
on
let
January
me let
6th.
me
Please don't
interject.
What
compare
about
that.
Ashley
No,
Babbitt?
no,
What
That's
but
about
you're
there's
Ashley
no
acting
Babbitt?
like black
comparison.
men can't go in public with guns. That has happened. It has happened, and police don't do anything
They
about it
put
as long as they
they
are
put all
behaving
those Black
properly.
Panthers in jail, and some
All
of
right,
them are
so
No,
still in
because these
jail to
Black
this day.
Panthers and
let me
Black
interject.
militants went and protested in
All right.
Georgia when that young man got shot running. They went and protested. Nobody arrested them. Nobody threatened these Black militants. They were there with their guns out. So stop, bro. You making up
Nigga,
stuff. You're not making sense,
stop
and you
windmilling
got
for
to
these
stop.
folks. You ain't got to do all that just
Wait,
to win.
I'm sorry. Re-up. You want to stay on your mic till I get to you. It's not that type of thing. Please.
Rios gets a little exuberant. He's exuberant with his
They act
sorry.
like
So
they
let me
really act like we
interject.
the same out here with
Let me
guns.
interject for a
Like
second because um I see your point, Indy. However, you used Ohio as an example with the KKK parade. Now, whether it's KKK or Black Panther, if you get a permit, you can have a parade parading about anything. That's your right, and you get police escort if you request, and you probably have to pay. However, what people maybe you aren't privy to this because Ohio is open carry, which I do appreciate. So in Cincinnati, the black people there, oh, they went and got their firearms and they were outside on every corner blocking that parade. And then on top of that, I don't know if it was an altercation because I think somebody car got vandalized. So then because they were I think they were like in predominantly a black community when they were marching. But then the black people came out with their guns and then they was tearing up some of those white guy cars. My point is those black people there weren't having it. They wasn't running to the police or saying we shall overcome. No, they went and got
Yeah, yeah,
they went
yeah,
and got
yeah,
their
yeah. I'm
guns
not
like they
denying that. I'm
should.
just
No,
saying, did you see
let me speak. Let me
what
speak.
happened
No,
in
no,
the
no. Let me talk.
aftermath when the police?
Let me talk. Stop. Those black people went and got their guns as they should, as they're right. And it wasn't just no little pistols, the big shotguns or whatever. And they stood their ground because it's open carry. Everyone was licensed. And you're not gonna come up in here with that nonsense thinking that you're gonna vandalize this or you're gonna scare us. No, we're gonna show you we roll deep and we about our business. So with that said, it's a different it's a different type of attitude when you in North Carolina, and that's open carry too. And what I noticed with these red states that are open carry compared to the blue states, oh, people lock and loaded. And you don't have a lot of the gun crime in the blue cities and blue states that you can't when you don't have open carry and the gun laws are strict. The gun violence is higher as opposed to open carry states. So I get what you're saying historically, but today is today time is something different. You know, if you're a black person, you should learn how to handle a firearm. I think everybody should. And as long as you follow the law, you not nothing is not going to happen to you as far as, oh, you're going to get arrested because you have a firearm. Not if you're following the law with that. So I just think that's a little bit of a
Well,
stretch.
what I'm alluding to is what happened to Philando Castile. He was a law abiding citizen. He had the right. He had his paperwork. He had his gun in the right place. Did you see what happened to him?
Yeah, and okay, it was unfortunate.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like
Is that the
that's the
norm with every black person?
That's the
just
exception to the
about
No,
rule,
it's
man.
that's
not.
how
Come
we're
on, man.
treated.
Just about. So you're being disingenuous
No,
with
no,
that.
I'm not.
It's not like it is.
I've never seen a
Okay.
video of that happening to a white man.
Um,
It's
I could
turned
guarantee I could
into
pull cases of it
something that
happening to white people. You know why? Because there's more white people in the country than black people, and white people actually get shot more than the police just for that for specific demographic because there's more of them. So you don't have the data and the facts, my friend. You're pulling
Well, I
anecdotal
mean,
single pieces of
go look at
evidence
the
out,
it's
and
stats.
it's
turned
not.
into
It doesn't
something
pass
that
you
I
you
didn't
muster.
join the conversation for.
your little per capita argument that don't work.
I know the statistic doesn't work. It doesn't make sense.
I
I
wanna
Your
got you.
per
okay. I
cap
You,
your
wanna.
per capita.
we need more people like you in this society. That's going to help us with your logic
I
and
want to go
reason.
to Re-Up. He's a new speaker, and then I'll go back to the hands. Go ahead, Re-Up.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where the conversation was. I was actually listening to it. Um, Actually, Peter is right. They actually do get arrested more. They are accosted more by the police, and it's just because of literally per capita. It kind of went against your argument. I'm in a red state. I like our gun laws. I think gun laws don't help us as a community. I think they harm us more. Gun laws only harm people that are getting guns legally. People who want to get guns are going to find a way to get them by any means necessary, and they actually have a way. It is what it is. I don't, you know, any gun laws are going to disproportionately hurt our community. Indeed, that's what I would say about that.
Yeah, I
But
didn't say
yeah,
that, but
to the title, I think the DOGE refund, if anything, is coming. I was told that's going to be July of next year, and I'm not sure. Is Jasmine Crockett batshit crazy? I don't think she's batshit crazy. I think she just does her sister girl thing. Um, if the Dems were going to run on that heavy, they should have done that uh, during the campaign, and they should have put all sort of kind of people out there since they were running Kamala as a black woman. I think they fumbled, and they should just chill right now. I think that would be this. But good evening.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.